Welcome back to Gordy's Magical Advent Calendar podcast. It is December 3rd, which means another adventure with Gordy. Last time, Gordy built a toy factory for Santa in a blizzard. Let's see what the Magical Advent Calendar has in store today. Gordy heard the magic sound of the Advent Calendar and saw the number 3 glow.
Ho, ho, ho! Hello, Gordy. The snow monsters seem to be whipping up quite the storm in the icy tundra. I wonder if they caused that blizzard at the toy factory yesterday. Would you mind going to see why they're in such a grump? The snow monsters are very proud, so you will have to impress them somehow. Good luck.
Gordy quickly looked around the room and thought of what he could bring to help him.
That's it!
He saw the icicle ornament from the Christmas tree forest. If he wore the ornament, it gave him magical frosty breath. That was sure to impress the snow monsters. He was ready to go. As Gordy left the warmth of the town, he tried not to think about how he had never been this far north and how the air was seeming to get colder and colder. Up ahead, the sky was a dark gray that he knew all too well. There was a blizzard brewing. He would have to hurry. He dashed off towards the huge storm. He approached the gusty, dark clouds that were now right in front of him.
I have to do this. Santa is counting on it.
Speeding into the storm, Gordy could still hear and feel the blizzard. But then the wind stopped. He was in the middle of a sunny day with a snowy landscape all around him. Out of nowhere, a few small snow hills started to move.
Wait, those aren't hills. It's the snow monsters. Hi, snow monsters.
They must have stood at least as tall as Gordy's house. They were giants. The chief snow monster approached Gordy with heavy steps. The chief was giant, with a great white beard and cold blue eyes. As they got closer to Gordy, Gordy tried to remain calm. The chief spoke with a voice that shook like an avalanche.
What have we here? Is that a little elf?
Hi, my name is Gordy. Did you happen to make a blizzard that almost destroyed Santa's new toy factory?
The chief laughed coldly. They hadn't made any blizzards recently. They'd all been in hibernation, until Gordy just woke them up. They couldn't have done it. Gordy tried to figure out what was going on. But then, the snow monsters challenged him to a snowball fight. Before Gordy could argue, they explained the rules. If Gordy won, then they would help him find out where the blizzard came from. If he lost, then he had to leave and never come back. Not seeing any other choice, Gordy started to make snowballs. They had split the snowy field into 2 halves. Gordy was on one end with a dozen small snowballs, but the snow monsters had hundreds of huge snowballs.
Oh, candy canes.
How was Gordy going to get himself out of this?
First one to get their opponent with a snowball wins. 3, 2, 1, go!
Suddenly, a massive boulder of a snowball came crashing down towards Gordy. He rolled away and slid in the snow. He was now on the other side of the field from his small pile of snowballs.
I've got to get over to them.
Ducking away from more snowballs, Gordy's hands came up to his icicle ornament necklace, and he had an idea. He could use the ice magic. Gordy ran and jumped while breathing out. A magnificent slide of ice formed where Gordy breathed, and he slid along it over the snowball field. The snow monsters all stared up at him in wonder. Gordy made the ice slide go into a spiral, and then he sped down it towards his snowballs. He quickly grabbed one, and then darted off again. Gordy slid around and aimed his snowball. He then heard a loud snore.
What's that?
Looking towards the snoring, he saw that one snow monster was still asleep on the edge of the field. As they snored, dark clouds floated above their heads.
That must be what's causing the blizzards. Snow monster snores. Time out!
The snow monsters all gave Gordy a funny look. Then he pointed at their friend.
Look!
The snow monsters looked between their sleeping friend and Gordy, then all began to laugh. It all made sense now. The chief called off the snowball fight and said that Gordy had impressed them with his courage.
Thank you! It was fun!
The chief promised they'd try to snore a little less to help out the North Pole. They also told Gordy he was welcome to have a snowball fight with them anytime he wanted. As Gordy got ready to head back to Santa's village, he was happy he had made new friends and solved the blizzard issue. If you want to see and hear more about Gordy, check him out on YouTube. Also, tune in tomorrow for Gordy's next magical advent calendar adventure. Welcome back to Gordy's Magical Advent Calendar podcast. It's December 4th, and it's time for another exciting adventure with Gordy. Yesterday, our fearless elf discovered that the snow monster's extra loud snoring was causing blizzards. Let's see what the magical advent calendar has in store for Gordy today. Gordy had just finished making himself a yummy cup of hot cocoa when his magical advent calendar chimed its now familiar chime. The number 4 glowed bright, lighting up Gordy's gingerbread house. He opened the small door with the number 4.
Hey, Santa! Merry December 4th!
Ho, ho, ho! Hello, my dear Gordy. Today, I have a very important task for you. One of my youngest reindeer, Cinnamon, has gone missing. She was last seen roaming the town in search of a snack. Please help me find her before it gets dark.
Gordy knew he had no time to waste. He grabbed his trusty candy cane skis, poured his hot cocoa into a thermos, and rushed out the door, ready to rescue the lost reindeer. Gordy was soon leaving Santa's village and headed into the sweetest, softest area of the North Pole, the Marshmallow Meadows. He knew reindeers love to snack on marshmallows, so it was the perfect place to start looking for clues. This delicious field of white, bouncy ground was every young elf's dream, so Gordy couldn't help but jump a big jump into a large marshmallow mound. He was immediately thrown high up, flying into the air like he was an astronaut on the moon. Hopping from marshmallow to marshmallow, Gordy was having a blast crossing the meadow, hopping and twirling in the air with great skill, until a huge dip in one of the marshmallows made Gordy lose his footing and crash down. As Gordy got back up, he wondered what could have caused this massive dip. Wait! Looking closer, Gordy could tell it was shaped like a reindeer bite.
Another clue!
Cinnamon had to be close by. Gordy charged ahead, bouncing his way out of the marshmallow meadow and into the icy surface of the shiny ice field. As Gordy stepped onto the ice, he looked down and saw that instead of water, there was something sparkly underneath. It was a glitter lake. The ice on top was also made of glitter, and everything sparkled like a shimmering disco ball.
Wow, this is beautiful!
Mesmerized by the sparkles, Gordy almost didn't notice the small animal in the middle of the ice field. It was Cinnamon! Gordy could hear her calling out to him, but the young reindeer didn't seem to be able to move. What was going on?
Don't worry, Cinnamon! I'm coming to get you!
As Gordy took a confident step forward, the sparkly ice began to crack under his small elf feet. He was startled but repositioned and tried again, determined to reach Cinnamon. But the ice cracked again, and Gordy had to take a step back. How would he reach Cinnamon? Gordy steadied himself and tried to think. If he couldn't walk there, could he maybe dance? Gordy started by sliding his feet across, and the ice didn't seem to crack. He slid again, shaking his little elf tushy as he went. The ice stayed put!
It's working!
Gordy continued to shimmy and shuffle, inching his way towards Cinnamon. The ice was thin, but Gordy was keeping the pressure even on his feet until he finally reached her. He gave the young reindeer a big tight hug and she neighed with joy.
Now let's get you back home.
But Gordy looked closer and saw that Cinnamon's hoof was stuck on a crack in the ice. That's why she wasn't moving! Oh no! How would Gordy get her unstuck without hurting her or risking breaking the ice? Gordy wished he had brought a bigger jacket or antler warmers or maybe even... Gordy reached into his pocket and pulled out the hot cocoa thermos he had set aside earlier in the day.
This could thaw the ice and set Cinnamon free.
As he poured the hot beverage on the ice, making sure to avoid Cinnamon's hoof, her leg began to wiggle free until the area was fully melted and she could move. Gordy began to dance his way out of the field, but Cinnamon grabbed Gordy's sleeve and pulled him towards her. She signaled him to hop onto her back, and Gordy's eyes immediately lit up. He climbed onto Cinnamon's back, and she lifted them into the night sky, soaring over the snowy landscape.
Whoa!
This was Gordy's very first time flying on a reindeer, and he couldn't contain his excitement. The shiny ice field looked ever more magical from up above, and the marshmallow meadow looked like fluffy clouds. Cinnamon was a fast flyer, and soon they were back at Santa's village, safe and sound. Gordy was proud of himself and so happy to see Cinnamon reunited with her friends. If you want to see and hear more about Gordy, check him out on YouTube. Also, tune in tomorrow for Gordy's next magical advent calendar adventure. Welcome back to Gordy's Magical Advent Calendar podcast. It is December 5th, which means another adventure with Gordy. Last time, Gordy found a missing reindeer. Let's see what the Magical Advent Calendar has in store next. Today was the annual ice skating race. Every year, the elves compete to win a magical pair of ice skates made by Santa himself. Gordy was about to leave when he heard the familiar magic of his advent calendar. As the 5 began to glow, Gordy excitedly hopped and clapped.
Ho, ho, ho! Hello, Gordy. I hope you're ready for the big race today. I was up all night tinkering with the prize ice skates, but they shot off in a trail of sprinkles. Could you find them for me before the race, please?
Of course, Santa.
I didn't get the chance to finish the enchantment, so if someone is wearing them and not feeling the holiday spirit, they won't be able to control them.
With that, Santa's voice faded away. Gordy needed to follow the trail of sprinkles. He grabbed his skis and rushed out. Gordy had almost reached Santa's workshop when something tickled his nose.
Oh my! Achoo!
Gordy put his finger to his nose and saw that there were green sprinkles on them.
Oh, sprinkles! The skates must be nearby.
He saw a small flurry of green and red shimmering in the distance, just off to the side of the workshop. Gordy hurried off after them towards the icy tundra on his candy cane skis. Following the sprinkle flurries into the tundra, it soon opened up into a snowy landscape. Everything was normal, except Gordy saw a huge cloud of green and red sprinkles that looked like a sparkly tornado. He could hear a deep roar coming from the center of the cloud. Gordy remembered what Santa had said. If the wearer was not in the holiday spirit, the skates would be uncontrollable. Gordy just needed to talk to whoever was wearing the ice skates. He approached the edge of the sprinkle cloud.
Oh, yummy sprinkles!
Gordy munched his way through the cloud. Inside the sprinkle cloud, there was a polar bear wearing the skates. She had a panicked look on her face and was spinning around as sprinkles flew out the back of the skates. Gordy got closer to the polar bear.
Hi, I'm Gordy.
My name is Polly.
Gordy told her that the ice skates would only work if you felt the holiday spirit. Gordy could help with a Christmas carol. Polly stopped spinning for a second. But then the ice skates rocketed to life again, launching her straight at Gordy. Gordy tried to jump out of the way, but his shirt got caught on Polly's claw. They were now spinning wildly around. Gordy stopped whistling the Christmas carol and asked Polly why she wasn't feeling the holiday spirit. She then said that she had always wanted to be in the great ice skating race, but was never invited. No polar bear had ever been invited. Then Gordy had a great idea.
Why don't you be my skating partner?
Really?
Of course.
A smile spread across Polly's face and she slowly stopped spinning. Gordy unhooked himself from her claw. Now, feeling the holiday spirit, she was ice skating in perfectly straight lines. She skated past Gordy and then around him and offered her paw. Gordy grabbed it and they zoomed off together towards Santa's village. As they got closer, Gordy asked Polly to slow down, and that's when they realized that they couldn't. They were heading straight towards Santa's workshop. Gordy had to think quickly before they crashed.
Head straight for that big tree.
The polar bear wasn't so sure, but they didn't have time for questions. She did as Gordy said, and they launched straight towards a tree. As they reached the bottom of the tree, the ice skates shot them straight up the trunk with a magical boost. As they zipped up the tree, Gordy held his hand out and grabbed onto a branch. They were now hanging from the branch and the ice skates stopped moving. Polly managed to kick them off, and they landed in a pile of snow below. Gordy could see them already sparking to life again, so he dropped quickly into the pile of snow too.
Got you.
Gordy grabbed the skates before they could shoot off and then took them back to Santa. Santa managed to fix them just in time for the start of the race. Polly was happy to help, but was sad she didn't have ice skates.
I guess I wasn't meant to compete anyways.
Santa said that everyone could compete in the race. He just never realized polar bears would want to join. He pulled out a new pair of skates for her. Then they made their way to the race. It was the first time a polar bear ever competed. Although Gordy and Polly didn't win, they still had a great time, and Polly got a special award for learning how to ice skate so quickly. If you want to see and hear more about Gordy, check him out on YouTube. Also, tune in tomorrow for Gordy's next magical advent calendar adventure.